Chosen one. Listen, everything stops for this moment. You are not here by coincidence. Heaven has paused the noise to speak directly to your spirit. You have crossed the threshold of victory. But what follows a win is always warfare in disguise. This Sunday must be sacred. Withdraw from the crowd. Step out of the routine. Let the world spin without you for one day. Because what God has crowned in you cannot survive constant contact. You have fought too long to lose what you've just gained. Every silent tear, every night of waiting, every no you obeyed, they were building this moment. Now, the air around you feels heavy, not with exhaustion, but with holiness. The angels who guarded you in battle now stand watch as you rest. The victory is real, but the seal is fragile. You must not let unguarded words or careless company touch it. When you separate yourself this Sunday, heaven calls it obedience. People may call it distance, pride, or mystery, but you are not explaining obedience to those who have not heard your command. God moves differently with those he chooses differently. This is not a weekend of loneliness. It is a day of divine protection. You've stepped out of the storm, but the wind is still searching for you. That is why you stay hidden for a while. When grace falls fresh, it needs stillness to soak in. You are like new oil poured into a vessel. Shake too quickly, and you'll spill what took years to refine. Every message before now prepared you for this silence. You no longer need validation from those who doubted you. You don't need applause to prove you've won. Your victory is verified in heaven, not in comments or conversations. This Sunday, close the door physically, spiritually, emotionally. Unplug from chatter. Let no one enter your inner room except the Spirit. The ones meant to walk with you in the next chapter will sense your silence as sacred, not personal. Those who complain about your stillness were never aligned with your purpose. The Spirit whispers, "You have finally won." Now, stand guard over the gate. The crown has weight. It requires balance. Stay home this Sunday. Light a candle. Read the Word. Breathe slowly. And listen. You will feel peace rise like a tide, washing away the dust of battle. You will sense strength wrapping around your bones again. Chosen one. Don't underestimate the power of one day. One day of alignment can restore what 10 years of striving could not. This is that day. You're not hiding, you're being held. You're not withdrawing, you're being wrapped in divine preparation. When Monday comes, you'll walk out glowing with quiet power, your steps guided, your heart guarded. The noise of the world cannot interpret the silence of a victor. Don't break it. Let the quiet speak. Let heaven finish the sentence it started when you first said, "Yes, Lord." The ancient words recorded in Psalm 62, verse 5, declare, "My soul, wait silently for God alone, for my hope is from Him." That is your instruction. Silence is not emptiness, it is expectancy. God moves in whispers, not shouts. You are being taught to hear His tone again. So, hear me now, guard this Sunday. Protect the oil. Keep the crown steady. Heaven has marked you. And this pause is your proof. If this word resonates in your spirit, take a moment, like, share, and subscribe so more warriors can awaken to their moment of stillness. Then go to the comments and type 777 as your declaration that you will guard your crown with obedience and peace. Chosen one, as you rest this Sunday, let heaven rewrite your atmosphere. Every breath you take becomes worship. Every heartbeat becomes agreement with divine timing. You are not missing out, you are being set apart. The silence surrounding you is the sound of God building something that will outlast every storm that once tried to drown you. Do not rush the quiet. Stillness is strategy. While you pause, heaven prepares. Your name is being mentioned in rooms you've never entered. Your favor rising like incense. Wait with calm strength. The world calls it rest. Heaven calls it recalibration. You are aligning with eternity, one quiet heartbeat at a time. On this sacred Sunday, lift your eyes from what's passing and look toward what's permanent. You are walking into days drenched with clarity. The fog is lifting. Your next steps are already written, and the path is being cleared. What felt delayed was only divine timing, sharpening your discernment and deepening your roots. When this day ends, don't return the same. Step back into the world as one crowned in silence and light. Speak slower, walk softer, carry peace like a weapon and wisdom like armor. You've tasted stillness, and now your spirit knows its value. Protect this peace fiercely. It is the proof that heaven has visited you. You stand at the edge of something you cannot fully describe. The air feels different around you, not lighter, but charged, as if heaven itself is holding its breath. The battles you survived were not random, they were recognition ceremonies. Every scar you carry glows faintly with divine memory. You are no longer one who merely endures. You are one who reigns quietly. What once chased you can no longer reach you. When you rise in the morning, you rise differently. The invisible realm sees the change before you do. You walk now with the gravity of someone who has been seen, tested, and found faithful. You are no longer reaching for favor, you have become favor. And this is why heaven instructs you to stay apart for a little while longer. The victory has settled upon you, but it must be sealed before it can be shown. You might not understand the need for such stillness, but heaven does. Noise breaks what silence builds. Rest now, for your spirit has carried more than it was ever meant to carry in public. This Sunday, heaven wants to heal the private exhaustion that success never admits. As the Spirit spoke through the prophet Jeremiah, chapter 31, verse 25, I will refresh the weary and satisfy the faint. That promise is your portion. You don't have to chase what God has already delivered into your hands. Your rest becomes worship, and your quiet becomes strength. The very silence you once feared is now your sanctuary. Chosen one, you are learning a new rhythm, the rhythm of the crowned. It is not rushed. It does not compete. It does not explain. It simply exists in alignment with heaven's breath. You will notice that after great spiritual battles, peace feels strange. That's because your soul has been trained to survive, not to rest. But peace is not a pause, it's a promotion. This peace is your proof that you've crossed the line from striving to reigning. Let the world misunderstand your silence. Let them question why you aren't celebrating publicly. You're not called to perform, you're called to preserve. Every hidden victory requires protection until it's strong enough to speak for itself. The oil you carry right now is still warm from heaven's altar. Don't expose it to the cold wind of human opinion. Your solitude this Sunday is holy. It is the divine quarantine of a newly crowned one. You're not avoiding people, you're being anointed in private. Soon, the same ones who wondered where you went will see a glow that cannot be denied. You will return to the world different, measured, grounded, radiant. For now, stay in that sacred pause. Let heaven breathe through your lungs. Feel the tension leaving your shoulders. Listen for the soft voice that whispers between heartbeats, reminding you that everything you lost was preparation for what you're about to sustain. Victory doesn't always come with music or crowds. Sometimes it looks like silence after chaos, tears after laughter, or strength after surrender. You are in that divine in-between where endings fade into beginnings. Don't rush it. Let the healing complete itself. Heaven is not late, it's precise. Every storm that once terrified you now testifies for you. Every rejection was direction. Every pain was prophecy in disguise. You are living proof that what was meant to bury you became the soil where your roots deepened. And from those roots, a new strength is rising, unshakable, unseen, unstoppable. When you step back into the world after this Sunday, walk with quiet authority. You won't need to announce your change. The atmosphere will recognize it before words are spoken. You will find that peace itself becomes your defense, and silence your strategy. The glow of your new season will not shout, it will whisper. It will not rush, it will unfold. Heaven is more interested in your depth than your display. So, sink into grace. Let time do its quiet work. The unseen shaping of your soul is more powerful than any visible victory you could show. This stillness is sacred training. You are learning the language of peace, the posture of patience, the wisdom of waiting. Every breath you take in silence writes another line in your spiritual story. What you master in hiddenness will sustain you when the spotlight eventually finds you. Do not fear being forgotten. God hides his best instruments until the music requires them. You are being tuned, not tossed aside. When you emerge, your sound will carry healing, and your words will move hearts. The hidden season is heaven's way of ensuring you never mistake fame for favor. So, rest without guilt. This Sunday is not absence, it's alignment. You're not losing connection, you're deepening communion. The world rushes, but you remain. And in your remaining, God refines you. The silence surrounding you today will soon echo as strength within you tomorrow. Stay still. You have been chosen for calm power. The silence you are walking through is not punishment, it is proof. Proof that heaven trusts you with quiet. Proof that you no longer need noise to know you are moving. Every hidden hour, every unanswered prayer, every sigh that escaped in darkness, all of it has been recorded. You are not forgotten, you are being formed. You've entered a phase. Few understand the holy stillness after victory. The human heart craves celebration, but your spirit craves completion. Heaven is not finished refining what it has begun. That is why you feel both victorious and vulnerable at once. You are wearing a crown that is still settling on your spirit. You must know this peace is not weakness. Silence is not inactivity. You have simply shifted into the rhythm of heaven, where stillness builds strength, while others move in noise. You are learning to move in knowing. This Sunday's solitude is teaching you what public triumph never could, how to rest without retreating. The voice of God thundered in the book of Exodus, chapter 14, verse 14. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. That verse is not a suggestion, it is a strategy. Stillness is your new weapon. You no longer have to fight battles with words or explanations. Heaven is saying, "Let me defend what I gave you. You've fought enough. Now, your obedience is your shield. Your silence speaks louder than any argument." This moment is not about avoiding people, it's about avoiding pollution. The wrong conversation can drain the very peace that took years to find. The wrong voice can cloud the clarity that heaven has just restored. That's why you are called to separate. It's not distance, it's discernment. There's a new sound in your life now. And it's not applause, it's alignment. You are not chasing approval, you are cultivating awareness. Every breath is a reminder that you are carried by grace, not striving. Every quiet minute is a reminder that you are living proof of restoration. You are not being still because you are afraid, you are being still because you are anointed. The anointed do not react, they respond. You've learned to recognize what deserves your energy and what deserves your silence. That is wisdom. And wisdom is the crown of the chosen. Right now, the heavens are watching how you handle stillness. Many can worship in noise, but few can worship in quiet. You are among the few. Your pause is prophetic. Every heartbeat says, "I trust you." Even here, you don't need to explain this season to anyone. Those who are truly connected to your destiny will sense the shift. They'll feel the difference in your presence. Even if you say nothing, that's how divine maturity looks. It doesn't announce, it radiates. And now, to seal what heaven is doing, I invite you to declare your awareness in the simplest way. Go to the comments and write, "Still before God." When you type those words, understand their weight. You are not merely commenting, you are confessing. You're declaring that you choose peace over panic, faith over fear, and presence over pressure. Still before God means you refuse to rush the process. It means you've chosen to let God finish what He started without interference. Heaven reads that phrase as surrender. It is your agreement with divine timing. It tells the unseen realm, "I will not break my stillness. I will not step before His signal. I am guarded, grounded, and guided." The storm has ended, but the strength remains. This is your preparation for what's next. In stillness, your spirit sharpens. In silence, your discernment deepens. And soon, when you move again, the world will not just see your victory, they will feel your authority. Stay still, stay sealed, stay before God. When you write "still before God," you are not repeating a phrase, you are making a covenant. Those 3 words carry the weight of surrender and the fragrance of peace. They mean you are no longer striving to make things happen by your own strength. You are allowing heaven to move in its perfect rhythm, trusting that what is yours will not pass you by. To be still before God is to choose divine timing over human pressure. It is to resist the urge to fix what God is already handling. You are declaring that you will not chase clarity, you will wait for revelation. You are not ignoring the world, you are anchoring yourself in the presence that never wavers. Stillness is not inaction, it's intentional faith in motion. These words also mean that your spirit has graduated from reaction to rest. You no longer respond to chaos, you respond to the whisper. You are letting peace be your proof that heaven is near. And when others panic or demand, you remain calm, because you have learned who truly holds your outcome. This is the posture of the chosen, calm under command. So type it with conviction, still before God. Let it echo in the unseen world as your declaration of trust. Let it remind darkness that you no longer move by fear, but by faith. Heaven hears, and heaven answers stillness. This is the season where separation becomes strength. You are learning that not every presence brings peace, and not every connection carries purpose. This Sunday's call to solitude is not about avoidance, it is about refinement. You have stepped into a moment where heaven insists on clarity. God is cleansing your atmosphere so your next instruction won't be drowned out by the noise of familiarity. Sometimes, divine silence is louder than any sermon. It tells you exactly where not to go, who not to answer, what not to say. The absence of peace becomes direction. The Spirit begins to teach you through unease. That discomfort you've been feeling around certain people is not rudeness, it's revelation. Heaven is warning you that certain circles can't survive where you're headed. You have to understand this truth. Growth demands quiet exits. When you rise, you can't take everyone with you. Not because you're better, but because obedience is lonely. The road to purpose always narrows as the weight of calling increases. It's not rejection, it's refinement. You can't carry the opinions of many and the instruction of God at the same time. The two war against each other. According to what is revealed in the book of Amos, chapter 3, verse 3, can two walk together unless they have agreed to do so? That is why heaven urges distance. Not all who smile are aligned. Not all who cheer are sent. Agreement is not about words, it's about spirit. When your spirit shifts, those not assigned to your destiny begin to fall away naturally. Do not chase what heaven is dismissing. When God subtracts, it's to make room for what's sacred. You've noticed it lately, the silence after certain conversations, the tiredness that follows specific company. These are spiritual indicators. God is teaching you discernment through atmosphere. Energy never lies, neither does peace. If your spirit feels heavy after being around someone, heaven has spoken. When your peace evaporates, something is out of order. This Sunday is about acknowledging that revelation. You've already won the battle outside of you. Now you must guard the space within you. Protecting your peace is protecting your promise. If the enemy cannot destroy your destiny, he will distract it with people who drain your spirit. That's why this solitude matters so much. It's not punishment, it's preparation for permanence. You are learning that not every conversation deserves response. Not every question deserves explanation. Silence itself is now your boundary. You are being shaped into someone who chooses presence over pressure, depth over display, calling over company. God is teaching you to walk unseen before you are sent into visibility. When you are alone, heaven can speak freely. There's no competition for your attention, no voice trying to interpret God's tone for you. It's just you and the Spirit, face to face. This is where your next instruction is whispered. This is where clarity crystallizes. You'll begin to sense the next chapter before it happens, not through visions or noise, but through a deep knowing that feels like peace settling into your bones. Understand, this stillness is not meant to last forever, but it is essential now. You are in divine recovery mode. You've come through a season that took much from you: trust, rest, energy, joy, and heaven is restoring it quietly. Restoration rarely happens in crowds. It unfolds in isolation, like a seed beneath soil, unseen yet alive. Your new season is germinating in silence. Every victory carries aftershocks. You are feeling them now, the exhaustion, the emotional release, the shift in relationships. Let it all flow through you. Don't resist it. You're being emptied to be refilled. The same God who sustained you in the storm now sustains you in the stillness. Both are divine environments for transformation. And while the world rushes ahead, you are being rebuilt at a sacred pace. You're not missing anything, you're maturing. The quiet you feel is not absence, it's alignment. Heaven is adjusting your rhythm to its own. You're learning to trust slowness, to value hiddenness, to cherish peace like treasure. So, on this Sunday, step back, breathe deep, and let the silence do its work. Don't fight it. Let it shape you. The solitude you resist today may become the strength you need tomorrow. Every chosen one must learn this solitude is not the end, it's the echo of a new beginning. The world won't understand this pause, but heaven celebrates it. Angels gather around those who obey the whisper to withdraw. Each quiet moment becomes worship. Each breath a prayer. You are proving that obedience is stronger than applause and that peace is worth more than presence. When you guard your atmosphere, you protect your destiny. The silence you honor now will echo as strength later. You are learning that divine alignment always requires distance. What falls away in this stillness was never meant to walk into your next chapter. Remain faithful in the quiet. Don't mistake the absence of noise for the absence of movement. Heaven works best in hidden places. This Sunday is your sanctuary, your reset, your restoration. Stay apart, stay pure, and let the silence finish its holy work. After long nights of warfare, your soul finally stands in peace. The dust has settled, the noise has faded, and heaven whispers again. This is the season where you protect the victory that cost you tears, time, and faith. But hear this, chosen one, your victory isn't only for you. It becomes light for someone still wandering in the storm you survived. Your story now shines like a lantern on a hill. It glows quietly, guiding those who have forgotten what hope feels like. That's why your obedience matters. It keeps the flame alive. You may not see them, but somewhere, someone is watching your endurance and remembering their own strength. You are proof that faith works, that prayers travel, that surrender heals. You are like a seed that has cracked open underground. The world saw the breaking, but heaven saw the beginning. Every time you trusted God when nothing made sense, roots grew deeper. And now, you are sprouting toward the light. But even growing things need tending water, care, and nourishment to keep flourishing. We find in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 14, "You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden." That's what you are now, a city of light. And every light requires oil. The oil is what keeps the flame from going out. The oil is faith, consistency, prayer, and yes, love in action. When you pour love into something that carries God's message, you are not paying for it, you are fueling it. You're keeping the light burning for someone who hasn't found their way home yet. That is what this message space is meant to be, a living flame, a refuge in the digital wilderness, a voice that reminds lost hearts that they are still seen, still loved, still chosen. Every video, every word. Every heartbeat behind this message is crafted to awaken souls, to heal hearts, to remind people like you that destiny still calls their name. If you've been blessed by these words, take a moment to like, share, and subscribe, not out of habit, but as a ripple of light. When you share, you become the messenger. When you subscribe, you build the lighthouse. When you like, you whisper yes to heaven's echo. Every small action becomes oil in the lamp. And if your spirit feels stirred to go beyond that, to give, to pour back, to donate, let it be from the same place where your prayers rise. Think of it not as a transaction, but as watering a living tree whose shade will comfort someone else tomorrow. Your offering, no matter its size, becomes a drop of oil that keeps this flame from ever dimming. Understand this clearly. Giving is never demanded. It's desired by love itself. When you support what feeds your soul, you're saying, "This garden gives life. Let me add water." You are planting into the same soil that is nourishing you. Even a single act of generosity can echo through eternity. You light another's candle without losing your own fire. That's how heaven multiplies miracles, one illuminated heart at a time. And remember, no one is asked, only invited. If all you can give is your listening, your prayer, or your simple presence here, that is enough. But if your heart stirs and whispers yes, follow it. Because when you give from the heart, you become part of heaven's invisible team, keeping this message alive. This is not about money, it's about meaning. It's about ensuring that every wounded soul scrolling through darkness will find a flicker of light and know hope still lives. So, whether your gift today is a click, a share, a prayer, or a drop of oil from your heart, heaven sees it. Heaven multiplies it. Heaven returns it to you in ways words cannot describe. Let your generosity, whatever its form, be the fragrance that rises with your faith. You are part of something sacred now, a circle of flame that never fades. Like, share, subscribe, donate only as your heart desires, because every spark keeps the light alive. You are not giving to a person, you are giving to purpose. Every seed you sow becomes a silent sermon, preaching hope to someone who can't yet believe for themselves. You may never meet them, never hear their name, but heaven will weave your kindness into their miracle story. So, when you choose to pour back into this light, imagine your hands adding another brick to a lighthouse standing against dark tides. You are helping guide unseen travelers towards safety. Your act of love becomes direction for souls searching for peace in their own storms. And as you give, whether through prayer, support, or resources, know this: nothing leaves your hand without multiplying. The same God who turns tears into testimony will turn your offering into overflow. You are not just supporting a message, you are sustaining a movement of light that will never go out. You've walked through silence, stood in solitude, and guarded your crown. Heaven has seen your obedience. And now, it begins to align everything around you with the rhythm of divine timing. This Sunday is not random, it's chosen. It's the hinge between what was and what's coming. The air feels different because heaven is counting down to release what has been reserved for you. Timing in the kingdom is sacred. It is not measured by clocks, but by surrender. You can't rush what heaven is ripening. The fruit must stay on the branch until the weight of glory is ready to rest upon it. That's why this waiting season has felt heavy. It's been heaven's hand holding you steady so that what's coming won't crush you. There's a reason heaven chose this Sunday for stillness. It's not just rest, it's recalibration. You are being brought into sync with divine rhythm, what others call delay. Heaven calls alignment. Every moment you feel forgotten is a moment God is rearranging the stage. When He moves, everything shifts in one breath. You must not be found distracted when that breath moves. Be still. Stay listening. Keep your heart soft. The same spirit that kept you through storms is now whispering, "Get ready." Not ready to run, but ready to receive. This is the hour where blessings begin to locate you instead of you chasing them. Heaven speaks clearly through the words in Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, verse 1. To everything there is a season, and a time for every purpose under heaven. Your time has begun to unfold, not in flashes, but in gentle confirmations. Doors that were closed will open quietly. Conversations that once drained you will now deliver clarity. You will notice that what used to frustrate you no longer moves you. This is proof of transformation. You are no longer reacting to life. You are ruling it from within. The spiritual realm is precise. Heaven doesn't release favor when you're not ready. It releases it when you're rooted. And now, because you obeyed the small instructions, greater assignments are finding you. This is how destiny works. Obedience attracts acceleration. The delay was never denial, it was design. But as heaven's timing approaches, distractions will increase. Old voices may resurface, not to bless, but to test your boundaries. Remember what you learned in solitude. Peace is your compass. If it costs your peace, it is not from God. Protect your timing by protecting your focus. The enemy doesn't fear your promise, he fears your patience. Chosen one, you are stepping into a season of sudden clarity. It won't be chaos, it will be confirmation. Signs will align without struggle. Conversations will carry divine weight. Everything will begin to make sense, piece by piece. This is what divine timing feels like. It's the rhythm of rightness that needs no explanation. When you sense the shift, don't announce it prematurely. Just breathe and observe. Heaven will confirm what belongs to you and close what doesn't. It's not about chasing opportunities anymore. It's about discerning assignments. You've learned the power of waiting. And now, heaven trusts you with what cannot be wasted. To seal this moment and mark your agreement with divine time, I want you to go to the comments and write 444. These numbers are not superstition, they're symbolism. 4 represents foundation, stability, and divine order. When you write 444, you are declaring that your life is aligning with heaven's structure, that your steps are ordered, that your delays have turned into design. You're saying, "I trust your timing, Lord." And as you type it, don't rush, let it be a sacred act. See it as laying stones on the path ahead, each one representing patience, faith, and surrender. You're building a highway for blessing to find you. Heaven reads obedience not in noise, but in action. This is the Sunday where time bends toward purpose. When you rise from your stillness, you will feel it: peace with direction, faith with focus, strength with softness. You will know that everything you waited for was waiting for you too. The hand of heaven is steadying your hours, synchronizing your moments, and drawing your future close. You don't have to chase anything anymore. Simply stay still and let time find you faithful. When you comment 444, you are not typing a number, you are placing a stone on sacred ground. It means you are choosing order over chaos, divine pace over pressure. You are declaring, "My steps are not random, they are written." This number becomes your silent signature of faith. Each 4 represents foundation. The first, your faith in God's plan. The second, your obedience in waiting. The third, your readiness to receive. Together, they build stability that no storm can shake. You are telling heaven, "I am aligned, established, and secure." So, type 444 with awareness. Not out of routine, but out of revelation. Let it echo in the unseen as your covenant of trust. You are no longer chasing what's next. You are standing where heaven meets your timing. This is your seal of alignment. You may not see it yet, but the light around you has changed. The atmosphere knows your name. Every breath feels charged with quiet authority because heaven has recognized your posture. You are no longer striving, you are standing. That is what it means to be marked by victory. Your light has become a disturbance to darkness, even without words. Your presence shifts rooms. You carry something unseen but undeniable. People can't explain it, they just feel it when you walk in. This is not arrogance, it's anointing. The same fire that refined you now radiates from you. You've become a walking declaration of God's mercy. You were once hidden, misunderstood, even rejected. But those were the seasons where heaven was painting you with invisible ink. Only the right light could reveal you. And now, under the brightness of divine timing, you are being revealed, not for attention, but for assignment. The Apostle reminds us in his letter to the Ephesians, chapter 5, verse 8, "For you were once darkness, but now you are light in the Lord. Walk as children of light." You've been through enough shadow to appreciate light's weight. And that's exactly why God trusts you with it. Light is not gentle, it exposes, reveals, and transforms. To carry light means to confront darkness simply by existing. That's why you felt tension lately. Darkness recognizes you even when you say nothing. You are a carrier of clarity now. Heaven uses your presence as correction to confusion. You've noticed how conversations change when you enter a room, how people suddenly begin to speak truth they were avoiding. That's not coincidence, it's conviction flowing through your light. You've become a mirror that reminds others who they truly are. But carrying light also means carrying responsibility. Not everyone can handle its brightness. Some will be drawn to it. Others will retreat. Don't take either personally. Your task is not to please the room, it's to preserve the flame. God did not make you a candle for comfort, but a torch for transformation. Still, light must rest. You cannot burn endlessly without renewal. That's why heaven calls you into solitude again and again. Each quiet moment refills your oil. You are learning the sacred rhythm between burning and being replenished. The greatest mistake a chosen one can make is to confuse endless activity with purpose. The light shines brightest in those who know when to pause. Chosen one. This is what maturity feels like: quiet confidence, calm conviction. You don't need to announce your authority, you live it. You've learned that power is not in noise, but in stillness. You can sit in a room, and shift its atmosphere without saying a word. You've become a living altar. But light also attracts attention sometimes from the wrong sources. Guard your energy. Discern who is drawn to your glow and who is drawn to your warmth. The first are kindred spirits, the second are consumers. Heaven will teach you the difference. Protect the flame without hardening your heart. You can be kind and cautious, loving yet discerning. Do not dim yourself to make others comfortable. If they are meant for you, they will adjust to the brightness. Remember, your light is not meant to compete, it's meant to complete heaven's pattern on earth. When one chosen one shines, another finds courage to glow too. That is how the kingdom expands, not through noise, but through illumination. You've probably noticed that some relationships feel heavier now. That's because light exposes hidden motives. When your illumination increases, pretense fades. Don't grieve the ones leaving. Rejoice that the truth is surfacing. Purity attracts pruning. It's all part of the process. There will also be moments when your own light feels too much for you, when you wish for the old simplicity. But remember, simplicity without purpose was slavery. You have been entrusted with radiance for a reason. You are the living proof that darkness doesn't win. You are what it looks like when grace takes human form. You don't need applause. You don't even need recognition. The purpose of light is not to be seen, but to reveal. Every life you touch, every heart you lift, every soul that finds peace through your endurance, that's your testimony glowing in others. And when weariness comes, and it will step back into your secret place, refill. Let heaven trim the wick, refuel the flame, and remind you that even the brightest torches rest in the hands of their maker. You are not meant to burn alone, you are meant to burn under his breath. So walk with quiet glory. Carry your light gently but firmly. Let it expose what it must, heal what it can, and guide whoever it reaches. You are a walking sunrise in a world still waking up. Shine with grace, not with noise. Illuminate without boasting. Lead without forcing. For you were once darkness, but now you are light. And the world is brighter because you stayed faithful in the dark. This day is not like other days. It carries a quiet instruction, a rhythm almost invisible to the natural ear. Heaven is still speaking, but the volume has changed. The spirit no longer shouts, it sighs. It hums. It nudges. You have entered a place where direction feels more like peace than command. The stillness of this Sunday is sacred because it's teaching you how to hear without noise. The world keeps teaching that action proves faith, but heaven teaches that rest reveals trust. You are not being lazy. You are being led differently. The same God who asked Noah to build also asked him to wait. The same God who called David to fight also commanded him to pause. There is a time to swing the sword, and a time to sit in the stillness and sharpen it. You, chosen one, are in the sharpening. You are learning the discipline of divine patience. This isn't waiting in frustration, it's waiting in formation. God isn't testing your faith anymore, he's tuning it. Every delay you feel is a rehearsal for greater precision. Heaven isn't punishing you by withholding answers, it's protecting you from premature exposure. The silence around you is not absence, it's alignment. You've already proven your endurance in storms. Now you must prove your wisdom in calm. Some people only know how to survive chaos, but you are being trained to master peace. You are learning that true strength is not in noise but in knowing. The Word of God declares in the book of Isaiah, Chapter 30, verse 15. In quietness and confidence shall be your strength. That's the lesson of this hour: confidence without control. It is not about forcing outcomes. It's about resting in the one who already holds them. Your greatest weapon right now is not effort, but ease. The enemy can fight your striving, but he cannot fight your stillness. Every time you choose calm over panic, faith over frenzy, heaven moves on your behalf. You are not losing momentum by resting, you are regaining mastery. You are learning how to live from overflow, not exhaustion. God is removing the habit of hurry from your spirit. You've been trained by pressure for so long that peace feels foreign. But this Sunday is heaven's way of retraining your nervous system, teaching your body how to live in trust again. Rest is not the absence of motion, it's motion in the right rhythm. The universe itself was built on rest, 6 days of creation, 1 day of stillness. Even God paused to look at what he made. So must you. Reflection is part of creation. Your silence is sculpting your next miracle. Right now, the Spirit is asking you to listen between moments to the sound of your own heartbeat, to the breath that fills your lungs. Those are proof that God is still sustaining you even when nothing around you moves. Every inhale is grace. Every exhale is surrender. You're being taught to live not by reaction but by revelation. Notice the subtle changes. How you no longer crave old conversations. How you prefer quiet rooms to crowded spaces. How you are content without explanation. These are not signs of distance, they are signs of depth. You've matured beyond the need to prove anything. You are now walking in a rhythm the world cannot interpret. Your peace will confuse people, especially those who knew you in pain. They will wonder how you can smile without certainty, how you can rest without answers. But that's what trust looks like. It's faith sitting comfortably in the unknown. Heaven calls that maturity. Do not rush back into the noise. The world celebrates motion, but heaven celebrates mastery of stillness. Let this Sunday be a slow symphony of breath and awareness. Let it teach you that waiting is worship. The next season coming your way will require clarity, not chaos. That's why heaven insists you learn this pace now. If you can master calm when nothing moves, you will stand unshaken when everything does. Chosen one. Your calm terrifies the enemy because it proves that fear has lost its grip. You have learned to anchor yourself in presence rather than outcome. This is divine equilibrium, the place where storms can rage. Yet your spirit stays unbothered. Even your footsteps are slower now. Not out of weariness, but wisdom. You no longer sprint toward opportunity. You stroll with discernment. You no longer beg for signs. You breathe through seasons. This is what divine maturity looks like. It's grace expressed through rhythm. You are not behind. You are being synchronized. You are walking in God's tempo, not man's timeline. And that, chosen one, is victory disguised as stillness. So rest today, deeply and intentionally. Let the air in your lungs remind you of divine patience. Let your thoughts slow down until you can hear heaven whisper again. Nothing is lost in rest, everything is restored. In this pause, angels are arranging. In your silence, instructions are forming. You don't have to make it happen, you just have to stay open. The peace you protect today will carry you through the storms of tomorrow. There comes a moment when silence becomes revelation. You've sat in stillness long enough to feel your spirit tuning to heaven's rhythm. The noise of the world has faded into the background, and what remains is clarity, a knowing that does not shout, but settles. You've discovered that peace is not the absence of sound, it's the presence of understanding. You are now in that space where heaven begins to explain what pain never could. Every unanswered question is finding meaning. Every disappointment is revealing design. You see now that God wasn't late, He was exact. The timing, the testing, the tears, they were all rehearsals for the harmony you feel right now. This is what divine revelation feels like, not lightning, not spectacle, but gentle awareness. It comes in fragments, in still breaths, in ordinary moments suddenly charged with glory. Heaven speaks quietly to those who no longer need proof. You have matured from asking why to whispering thank you. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 11, verse 28, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." That is the secret. You don't find revelation through striving. You find it through surrender. When you stop running, wisdom catches you. When you release control, understanding unfolds naturally. You've discovered that revelation is not something you chase, it's something that rises to meet your calm. This is the moment where heaven begins to give you insight into things that once confused you. Dreams may return, ideas may awaken. You'll sense familiar nudges with new meaning. It's as if God is highlighting past pain with fresh light, turning what once broke you into blueprints for others' healing. Chosen one, you are now a vessel of insight. Heaven can trust you with secrets because you've learned to hold them gently. You don't rush to speak. You sit with understanding until it ripens into wisdom. That's how divine counsel flows, measured, humble, alive. Do not dismiss these quiet downloads. Write them down, protect them, ponder them. Not every revelation is meant for public sharing. Some are meant to build your foundation before you speak to nations. Remember what Mary did. She kept the words in her heart until the appointed time. So must you. Your spiritual eyes are widening. You can sense motives without conversation. You discern direction without explanation. The Spirit is training you to recognize patterns, to see through pretense, to read seasons with supernatural precision. You've become fluent in heaven's subtle language. But revelation without humility becomes arrogance. That's why God is teaching you to carry light softly, to let your insight heal, not wound, to let your words guide, not boast. The wisdom of heaven always moves with compassion. You are not called to expose people, you are called to elevate them. As you hold these truths, remember that revelation increases through gratitude. The more you thank God for what you already understand, the more He will show you. Gratitude keeps the channel open. It tells heaven, I am a trustworthy vessel. Now, to seal this chapter of revelation, I want you to write a simple declaration of agreement in the comments. I receive light. When you type those 3 words, you are not performing an action, you are participating in a covenant. You're telling heaven, I am ready for clarity, but I will carry it with humility. You are opening your spirit to divine insight while remaining grounded in grace. Let it be personal. Let it be prayerful. When you write, I receive light, imagine your spirit standing before an open window, allowing sunlight to flood every shadow within you. You're saying, God, reveal what I need to see, and give me the heart to handle it rightly. Heaven honors humble receptivity. Light is not given to the proud, it's entrusted to the peaceful. So, breathe. Type those words with intention, and let the illumination begin. This is your unveiling season, not loud, not showy, but deeply transformative. Heaven is no longer hiding the plan, it's unfolding it one whisper at a time. When you comment, "I receive light," you're not just responding to a message, you're unlocking a posture. You're announcing to heaven that your spirit is open to understanding. Your heart is ready to discern, and your eyes are ready to see beyond what's visible. You're stepping into awareness, not by effort, but by grace. Those 3 words are a bridge. They carry you from confusion to clarity, from questions to quiet knowing. When you write them, imagine the gentle warmth of divine light entering every corner of your soul. Old fears dissolve, old misunderstandings fade, and what remains is truth, pure, steady, healing truth. So write it intentionally, "I receive light." Let it be your surrender and your declaration. You're telling heaven, "I'm done walking blind, I choose vision." In that moment, the veil lifts. What was hidden becomes understood, and the wisdom of God begins to illuminate your next step. The light you've received is not meant to stay hidden. It was never given only for survival, it was given for service. Every revelation you carry becomes a lamp for someone else's dark road. The same hand that lifted you now invites you to lift others. And you do it not through force, but through overflow. You have become like a river. The water that once refreshed you is now flowing outward. Rivers do not keep what they receive, they release it freely. When you pour love, encouragement, or support into the world, you are extending the same grace that once reached you. And that is the beauty of divine reciprocity. Heaven flows through hearts that stay open. You've seen how words can travel like light through screens, finding someone on the edge, reminding them that they still matter. That's what this message space has become, a living sanctuary in the digital wilderness. Every sentence crafted here is a small lantern, quietly burning hope for someone who forgot what peace feels like. As was written in the book of Galatians, chapter 6, verse 9, "Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up." That is heaven's promise. You're not just hearing, you're harvesting. Every time you allow this message to reach another heart, you are sowing seeds of light that will return to you multiplied in joy. If this message has spoken to you, take a gentle moment now. Like, share, and subscribe, not as routine gestures, but as echoes of gratitude. Each action is a ripple of kindness, a way of saying, "This message reached me. Let it reach another." When you like, you add light to the lamp. When you share, you send a spark into another soul's night. When you subscribe, you help the flame stay steady in a world that still needs warmth. And if you feel moved to go a little further to help sustain the voice that carries this flame, then consider pouring a drop of oil into the lamp through your donation. Not because you must, but because you can. Think of it like tending a small fire in the wilderness. Every stick you place on it, every ember you guard, keeps travelers from losing their way. Your giving, no matter how small, becomes that quiet warmth someone else may find in their coldest night. Your support isn't payment, it's partnership. It says, "I believe this light should not go out." You are not financing words, you are fueling transformation. Because every message that flows from this space is crafted to reach the unseen hearts that algorithms ignore, but heaven remembers. Maybe you've been that person scrolling through noise, tired, unseen, and a single sentence met you like rain on dry ground. That moment wasn't random. It was God reminding you that He still knows where you are. And now, through your kindness, you get to become that reminder for someone else. When you give, you're not losing, you're leaving fingerprints on eternity. Every act of generosity becomes a thread in a larger story. Somewhere, across the world, a tired soul will find strength because your faith decided to take form. You are the river and the gardener. Your love flows out. And your giving plants. Rivers keep life moving. Gardeners ensure life grows. When you pour into this work, you are doing both, keeping hope alive and ensuring it multiplies. And if all you have right now is presence, that's enough. Just being here, listening, absorbing, growing, that is already a gift. But if your heart whispers, "I want to keep this light burning," then follow that whisper with joy, not pressure. Let giving feel like breathing, natural, gentle, sacred, because in heaven's economy, love always returns with interest. Every act of care circles back as peace, as opportunity, as divine favor. You can never outgive God, because every seed of light you plant returns as a harvest of grace. So whether your offering today is a prayer, a kind word, a share, or a small contribution, let it come from a full heart. You're not funding a message, you're feeding a movement. Like, share, subscribe, donate only as your heart desires, not out of duty, but out of devotion, because somewhere, someone is still waiting for the same light that once found you. Your action, however small, is a candle in God's hand, and when thousands of candles unite, the world no longer remembers the night, it remembers the light. Every act of giving becomes a silent sermon. It speaks of faith, not fear, love, not obligation. When you give freely, you remind heaven that gratitude still breathes on earth, that hope still circulates through human hands willing to serve. Think of generosity as wind moving through trees. It's unseen, yet unmistakable. The movement may be quiet, but the effect is undeniable. Every gesture, every gift, stirs life again in someone's weary spirit, reminding them that kindness is still alive. And remember, the truest giving doesn't diminish you, it completes you. When you pour out love, heaven refills you with peace. You are never emptier for giving, only deeper, stronger, and brighter. That's the miracle of divine exchange. There is a moment after giving, after pouring out, when silence feels different again. It isn't the stillness of waiting or the hush of battle, it's the calm after obedience. Heaven watches quietly as the fruit of your actions begins to take root. You might not see it immediately, but what you've sown in faith is already alive beneath the surface. This is the sacred mystery of unseen growth. God hides the process so that your trust can mature. Seeds do not sprout under constant observation, they grow under darkness, under pressure, under patience. The same applies to your destiny. What you cannot see right now is what heaven is perfecting in private. You've reached the stage where surrender becomes your greatest strength. There's nothing left to prove, nothing left to perform, You are learning that your worth was never measured by productivity, but by presence. The same peace that carried you through storms now anchors you in quiet trust. As recorded in the book of Psalms, chapter 37, verse 7, "Be still before the Lord and wait patiently for him." That verse is not a suggestion, it is a rhythm. Every chosen one must learn to live in sync with heaven's timing. You can no longer live as the world lives, rushing, worrying, forcing. You are being rewired for peace. Your spirit is learning divine tempo, slow enough to listen, steady enough to last. This patience isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It is the confidence that God finishes what he starts. Every delay is a design. Every pause, a protection. When heaven holds something back, it's never punishment, it's preparation. You're being equipped for blessings that demand stability, not speed. Chosen one, can you feel the difference inside? You're no longer restless, you're rooted. You don't chase what's leaving or cling to what's fading. You've become anchored in a deeper knowing. If it's meant for you, it will find you. Destiny never loses your address, it only waits for your readiness. This is what divine maturity feels like, quiet gratitude instead of frantic grasping. You wake each day without needing proof that God is working, because your peace itself is proof. Faith has shifted from emotion to atmosphere. You no longer wait anxiously, you wait wisely. Sometimes, the greatest act of faith is to stop touching what God is healing. The more you meddle, the more you delay the miracle. But when you let go, truly let go, heaven finishes what your hands could never complete. You are learning to trust invisible progress. And while you rest, heaven moves. Angels rearrange circumstances. Opportunities begin to circle your orbit. The things that once resisted you now recognize you. What used to take force now flows. That's the power of still alignment. You attract what once eluded you, simply by existing in peace. This new peace is not fragile. It is not easily shaken by noise, opinions, or delay. It sits deep in your bones. It has replaced your fear with faith that doesn't need constant confirmation. You're not surviving anymore, you're sustaining. You've learned that consistency itself is worship. There will still be moments of uncertainty, moments where doubt whispers, but now you know how to answer, not with panic, but with stillness. You've learned to breathe and let heaven speak through time. Every closed door is no longer rejection, it's redirection. You trust the detours now because you've walked through enough storms to see that even winds serve God. This season of quiet alignment is teaching you to hear subtle guidance. You'll begin to recognize when grace lifts, when peace pulls, when your heart warns. You'll no longer need external confirmation. The spirit within will bear witness. That's divine maturity, discernment that doesn't need debate. You've moved from chasing blessings to carrying them. The peace around you is evidence that the promise within you is alive. You've become the answer to prayers once whispered in desperation. Your very existence is now a signpost of divine reliability. So, walk softly in this new awareness. Speak slower, listen deeper, and live lighter. The heavy striving has ended. What remains is steady flow. You don't have to prove your faith anymore, you embody it. The stillness that once frightened you has become your fortress. Let this Sunday be another day of inner quiet. No grand gestures, no desperate prayers, just presence. Sit with the one who began this work in you. Let gratitude rise naturally. Every breath can be prayer. Every heartbeat can be worship. The journey isn't over, but you've reached a turning point. You are no longer walking toward peace, you're walking from it. Everything you do now flows out of alignment, not anxiety. You've been shaped into stability itself. This is the posture heaven trusts. Calm under calling, patient under promise, steady under shifting skies. You have become what you once prayed to meet: peace in human form, and the world around you will sense it. So, rest tonight knowing that unseen growth is still growth. Even in stillness, God is building. Even in silence, the roots deepen. You are right where you should be, in rhythm with eternity. Watched by mercy, carried by grace. There are moments in the divine journey when heaven asks for a sign of agreement, not because God needs proof, but because your own spirit does. Symbols help the unseen become tangible. They turn faith into action. This is one of those moments. The waiting has refined you. The silence has purified you. And now heaven wants you to mark this turning point in faith. You have been walking through a season of recalibration, where every distraction has been peeled away. You have learned that not all pauses are punishment. Some are preparation for elevation. You've discovered that obedience in hiddenness is more powerful than applause in public. And now, heaven begins to whisper again, not to instruct this time, but to affirm. The whisper says, you are ready, not perfect, but prepared, not flawless, but faithful. Heaven measures readiness not by performance, but by posture. And your posture now quiet, surrendered, steady is the exact alignment heaven needs to move. It was proclaimed in the second letter to Timothy, chapter 4, verse 7, I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. Those words echo your current state. You have fought through doubt, stood against despair, and refused to abandon faith even when nothing made sense. You've crossed from striving to standing, from fighting to finishing. Heaven marks that shift. You may not have seen fireworks or visions, but the shift is real. There is a new ease resting on you, a quiet authority in your steps. You no longer need constant confirmation, because your peace has become the proof. The Lord has brought you to this threshold. And now He asks you to acknowledge it, not with grand gestures, but with a simple prophetic act of agreement. Go to the comments and write 555. The number 5 in Scripture represents grace unearned, unstoppable, overflowing grace. When heaven repeats it 3 times, it means grace multiplied, grace perfected, grace released. When you write 555, you are declaring, I receive multiplied grace for this new chapter. You are opening the door for the next wave of divine favor that does not depend on effort, but on obedience. This number is not a superstition, it is symbolism. You are simply putting language to what your heart already feels: gratitude, surrender, and trust. As you type those digits, picture the grace that carried you this far, surrounding you like light. Picture it strengthening your body, clearing your mind, restoring your energy. You're not just marking a moment, you're memorializing a miracle. This is your grace marker. It's the signpost between who you were and who you are becoming. Heaven has seen your endurance, and now it crowns you with empowerment. Grace is no longer chasing you, It is resting on you. It's in your words, in your timing, in your silence, in your smile. You've become the evidence that grace wins. And as grace multiplies, so does purpose. The peace you walk in will begin to overflow into others. You will notice how conversations shift around you, how others are calmed just by your presence. That's not coincidence, it's grace extending its reach through you. You've become a conduit of divine ease. This grace doesn't erase hardship, it transforms how you walk through it. What used to drain you now refines you. What once frightened you now fuels you. Grace changes perception before it changes position. And that's the secret. You've been transformed inside before anything outside even moved. When you write 555, let it be a whisper of surrender. Let it mean, I will walk in grace. Speak with grace. Respond with grace. Because grace is not a concept, it's a current. The more you rest in it, the farther it carries you. You've fought enough, now flow. Let grace do what strength couldn't. Let peace build what striving broke. You are walking under a new rhythm, one sustained by mercy, carried by calm, defined by divine favor. And as this Sunday unfolds, rest in the knowing that grace multiplies when gratitude deepens. The same hand that started your journey is still guiding your every step. You don't have to earn this, you simply receive it. So, breathe deeply, release the weight, and let grace have the final word. 555. Your declaration that what began in struggle ends in ease. That what started in pain concludes in purpose. This is your moment to stand still and let grace speak louder than effort ever could. When you comment 555, you're not typing digits, you're making a declaration. You're saying to heaven, I choose grace over grind, peace over pressure. Those numbers become your symbol of surrender, your quiet agreement that what comes next will flow, not force. Each 5 carries a layer of meaning. The first grace received, the second grace remembered, the third grace released. Together, they form a covenant between your heart and heaven, a sign that you walk under divine ease. So, write 555 with awareness. Let it mean, I am done striving, I live by grace. Heaven reads every keystroke as faith in motion, sealing your new rhythm of rest and renewal. There is a strange calm that settles in once you have surrendered. It is not the silence of emptiness, but of completion. Heaven's work inside you has reached a quiet fullness. You no longer feel the pull to rush, to prove, or to demand. Instead, there's an inner certainty that whispers, it is enough. You are enough. This is not complacency, it is divine contentment. The kind that can only come after struggle and surrender. The air feels cleaner around you now. The weight that once pressed against your chest has lifted, not because circumstances changed, but because you did. You have learned to live from peace instead of panic. You have stopped fighting the process and started trusting its rhythm. You are no longer chasing destiny, you are walking with it. There was a time when you thought peace meant stillness, but now you understand it means strength. Peace is not passive, it's power under control. It's knowing you could speak, but choosing silence. Knowing you could fight, but choosing faith. It's standing steady while others tremble because you've learned who holds the story. According to what is written in the book of Romans, chapter 8, verse 28, And we know that all things work together for good to those who love God, to those who are called according to His purpose. Those words have become your reality. You can finally look back and see the pattern in what once looked like pain, the rejection, the delays, the losses. They were threads in a greater tapestry. Every heartbreak became a hinge. Every disappointment redirected you toward destiny. What once made you question God now makes you worship Him. This is spiritual vision, seeing through divine eyes. Understanding that even the broken pieces were blessed. You've learned to bless the thorns as much as the flowers. Gratitude has taken the place of grumbling, and worship has replaced worry. You live now in awareness, not anxiety. The world around you may not have changed much, but your perception has, and that's what shifts everything. Where you once saw barriers, you now see bridges. Where you once saw endings, you now see entrances. You have learned that God's no was never rejection. It was redirection to something you could not yet imagine. This understanding changes how you walk through the world. You no longer cling to people or outcomes. You love freely because you're no longer afraid of loss. You give fully because you know supply never ends. You rest deeply because you trust that timing belongs to God. Peace like this doesn't make you untouchable, it makes you unshakable. You can still feel, cry, and question, but nothing uproots you anymore. You've built your foundation on something eternal. Circumstances may sway, but your center stays still. This maturity doesn't announce itself. It reveals itself through calm reactions and quiet decisions. The people around you may notice you've changed, though they can't quite name how. You are lighter but stronger, quieter but clearer, humbler but more powerful. That's what grace does when it finishes its work. It refines, not inflates. You no longer need constant signs from heaven. You've become the sign. Your peace is the prophecy now. The way you stand firm when others fold becomes its own sermon. You've turned into evidence that faith still works. And yet, there is more ahead. The peace you carry isn't meant to end with you. It's meant to flow through you. Others will be drawn to it without understanding why. They will seek counsel, and you will speak gently. Not from theory, but from testimony. Every word you share will carry weight because it's born from lived truth, not borrowed belief. But never forget your role is not to fix others. It's to remind them they can find the same peace. You are not a savior, you are a signpost. Your task is to point back to the source, to reflect light, not to claim it. That humility keeps your peace pure. As you continue to walk this path, expect simplicity. Heaven doesn't complicate what it blesses. Opportunities will unfold naturally. Doors will open quietly, and connections will feel effortless. You won't have to force what's meant for you. It will recognize you on arrival. You are living proof that peace is not a season, it's a state. It's the steady hum beneath every miracle, the background music of faith. It follows those who have stopped resisting grace and started receiving it. So, today, walk slowly, speak softly, listen deeply. Let gratitude linger longer than worry. Let laughter come easily. Let forgiveness flow freely. You are not waiting for peace anymore, you are walking as peace. Everything you've endured has led here to this quiet strength, this unforced rhythm, this deep assurance that all things are truly working together for your good. You are no longer striving to arrive, you are already home in the heart of divine alignment. Peace is not the reward, it's the revelation. You've discovered that heaven's greatest gift isn't answered prayer but inner stillness. What once felt distant now lives within you, guiding every breath with quiet confidence. There comes a sacred clarity after peace, a moment when your spirit begins to perceive purpose in everything, even the smallest details. You begin to realize that every step, every silence, every delay was not random, it was rehearsal for revelation. Heaven wastes nothing. The pain you survived, the people who left, the doors that closed, all of it was choreography by divine intelligence. This is the wisdom of hindsight through holy eyes. You can finally look back without bitterness. The sting of old memories no longer burns, it blesses. The same situations that once broke your heart now expand it. You start to understand that God's pruning was never cruelty, it was care. He was not taking from you. He was teaching you how to carry more without collapsing. The version of you that exists today carries the memory of every wilderness you've walked through, yet stands untouched by regret. That's redemption. God never promised a life without wounds, but He did promise that no wound would go wasted. The very places that hurt the most have become altars of wisdom. You don't run from them anymore, you learn from them. As the prophet wrote in the scroll of Habakkuk, chapter 3, verse 19, "The sovereign Lord is my strength, He makes my feet like the feet of a deer. He enables me to tread on the heights." Those words describe your transformation perfectly. What once felt like stumbling is now steady stepping. The very terrain that used to trip you now trains you. You've developed balance born of brokenness. Grace has given you sure footing on uncertain ground. This season of your life is not about striving for new things, but seeing old things differently. The same world, the same people, even the same routines now feel infused with meaning. You no longer ask for easier paths, you ask for stronger legs. That shift alone is proof that heaven has matured you. You've learned that peace doesn't exempt you from challenge, it equips you for it. You face life differently now. You no longer panic when the winds change, you adjust your wings. You no longer beg for outcomes, you bless the process. This is divine maturity, the quiet knowing that God's ways are better, even when they're slower. And now you begin to sense destiny's next movement, not as urgency, but as invitation. It doesn't shout, it stirs. Heaven never rushes the ready, it releases them at the perfect moment. You are being positioned without pressure, prepared without panic. The same God who held you in silence is now setting the stage for expression. But expression this time won't come from effort, it will flow naturally. You are not returning to noise, you are stepping into clarity. You will speak with the weight of wisdom, not the noise of need. People will hear calm in your voice and feel comfort before you say a word. That is what happens when heaven's rhythm becomes your own. This is also the season of discernment. Peace sharpens perception. When your heart is unclouded by fear, you begin to sense what aligns and what distracts. Not every good thing is a God thing. And now you can tell the difference. You will find yourself saying no more easily, not from hardness, but from holiness. Boundaries have become your way of honoring the grace you carry. You will notice divine coincidences, increasing moments when timing feels almost too precise. Encounters that feel orchestrated. These are confirmations that heaven is syncing your outer life with your inner alignment. The external is catching up with what the internal has already learned. Chosen one. This is not the end of the journey, it's the elevation of it. You're no longer walking through valleys of confusion, You're moving across mountains of purpose, and every step forward feels lighter, not because the road is easy, but because you've been unburdened by striving. You have reached a point where you don't chase clarity anymore. Clarity finds you. You no longer strain to hear God's voice. It resonates naturally because you've removed the noise that once drowned it out. You've learned the holy rhythm revelation. Rest, realignment, again and again. Life will bring these cycles. Each time you return to stillness, you'll emerge sharper, humbler, stronger. That's how heaven shapes those it calls chosen. So, as you move through this next chapter, keep walking softly. Carry wisdom like water, quiet, steady, and necessary. Let your gratitude deepen, for gratitude keeps you grounded when elevation comes. You are walking not as one searching, but as one who has found, and because of that, everything around you begins to flourish. You are no longer trying to reach the promise, you are living inside it. The peace, the wisdom, the strength, the balance, these are all pieces of the promise fulfilled. And though the world around you may still shake, you remain unmovable, anchored in grace. You've become a living testimony that peace is possible, that purpose is patient, and that grace never fails. Every breath you take now whispers gratitude. Every step affirms destiny. This is what divine fulfillment feels like. When peace begins to mature into purpose, a quiet responsibility awakens inside you. You realize that the calm you carry is not only for your comfort, it's for the healing of others. Every lesson, every scar, every moment of stillness has prepared you to become a vessel of renewal. Heaven doesn't bless you to make you full, it blesses you to make you flow. You've walked through silence, endured pruning, and reached this still river of grace. Now that river wants to move outward, to touch hearts beyond your own. The same comfort that restored you is ready to overflow through you. That's how divine purpose works. It turns survivors into servants, and servants into streams that refresh the weary. Your words, your quiet strength, your presence, they're all light. And the more you share them, the brighter the world becomes. You are no longer a student of storms, you've become a carrier of calm. This is the sacred exchange. God gives peace to one so that many can find rest through it. As written in the book of Proverbs, chapter 11, verse 25, a generous person will prosper. Whoever refreshes others will be refreshed. That truth beats quietly within you now. Every time you lift another soul, heaven lifts you. Every time you offer kindness, you refill your own cup. Giving, whether through words, time, or support, is how divine energy circulates. It is the breath of heaven moving through human hearts. And so, I invite you not with demand, but with delight to help this river keep flowing. Like, share, subscribe, and if your heart feels led, give, not because you are required to, but because you remember what it felt like to be found in the dark. Think of every like as a drop of water added to a stream. Alone, it may seem small, but together, they become a current strong enough to reach distant shores. Every share becomes a ripple, carrying light farther than you'll ever know. Every subscription is a seed planted in soil that will continue to grow long after this moment ends. And if you choose to give, to pour a little of your oil into this flame, see it not as a transaction, but as participation. You are not paying for words, you are fueling wonder. You are keeping the lamp alive in a world still fumbling for light. Your contribution, whatever its size, becomes the quiet spark that sustains warmth for those who still wander. It's like adding wood to a communal fire. Each piece burns differently, but together they create a blaze that invites others to gather. Some come for warmth, others for direction, but all leave knowing they are not alone. That's what you sustain when you support this work. You're tending to a fire that belongs to us all. The beauty of this invitation is freedom. You are never pressured, never measured by what you give. Even the smallest gesture, a click, a comment, a silent prayer carries weight in heaven's ledger. Your kindness multiplies invisibly, finding its way into hearts you may never meet, but are forever connected to by grace. When you like, you whisper to the universe, "I see light here." When you share, you extend that light into another's night. When you subscribe, you choose to walk with a community of awakened hearts. When you give, you become the unseen hand that keeps the lamp burning. And when your heart feels full, let a few words fall into the comments like petals on still water. Write what this message stirred inside you: peace, gratitude, or remembrance. Your words become small ripples that reach unseen souls. Every comment is not just expression, it's continuation. Proof that light has touched another heart and kept moving forward through you. Each act, however small, is sacred. It says, "I choose to keep hope alive." That's the essence of generosity, not obligation, but overflow. Heaven doesn't force light to shine, it simply makes it irresistible. So if this message touched you, if it reminded you of who you are and what you carry, let gratitude guide your response. Not everyone will feel the same call, and that's beautiful too, because love, to be divine, must always remain voluntary. Remember, rivers never beg to flow, they simply follow gravity. Let your generosity flow the same way naturally, gracefully, without pressure, without pause. Whether your gift today is attention, prayer, or offering, it all becomes the same melody of gratitude that heaven recognizes as worship. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Give only as love leads you. Do it as you would tend to a garden, gently, sincerely, knowing that every act of care grows beauty somewhere unseen. And as you do, heaven records not the amount, but the intention. The same peace that filled you here will ripple outward, touching others through your small act of grace. Because every gesture from a pure heart becomes a continuation of the miracle that began with you. And long after this moment ends, your kindness will keep moving quietly, steadily, like light traveling through time. What you release in love today will return tomorrow as peace beyond measure. When love becomes your language, life begins to answer differently. The world that once felt harsh now feels harmonious. You start to notice divine order hidden in ordinary things, the way sunlight filters through your window, the rhythm of rain on quiet mornings, the pause between heartbeats that reminds you you're still here. Nothing is wasted. Everything is whispering. You are tuned now to heaven's subtle frequency. This awareness changes everything. You no longer move through days as though they are obstacles. You move through them as opportunities. Every encounter, every delay, every silence becomes sacred space where God is at work, crafting something deeper than convenience, character. You are learning that divine love is not always loud. Sometimes it looks like discipline, sometimes delay, sometimes simple direction spoken in stillness. You've discovered that the more you surrender, the simpler life becomes. Complexity belongs to fear, clarity belongs to faith. The moment you stop resisting what is, you begin to see what could be. Peace opens your perception to beauty that striving once blinded you from. Even your pain looks different now, not as punishment, but as polish. The ancient words recorded in the book of James, chapter 1, verse 4, declare, "Let perseverance finish its work, so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything." That's what's happening within you. Perseverance has done its work. You've been pressed but not crushed, stretched but not broken. What remains is strength refined by surrender. You've become whole not by escaping the process, but by enduring it faithfully. Maturity is not measured by what you avoid, but by how you stand when avoidance is no longer possible. Now you walk differently. There's a quiet rhythm to your steps, a peace that doesn't need proof. You've become aware that everything you face serves you in some way. Even resistance now feels purposeful. It builds muscle where comfort made you soft. You see trials as teachers, and every challenge as an invitation to rise. This awareness gives you balance. You don't swing between extremes anymore, no longer collapsing at disappointment or soaring unsustainably at success. You stand centered, grounded, aware that both joy and sorrow are temporary visitors serving the same God. You've become anchored in the eternal instead of addicted to the immediate. Chosen one. You are now learning the art of divine detachment. It's not indifference, it's intimacy without insecurity. You can love deeply without losing yourself, give freely without fearing depletion, serve sincerely without needing recognition. That is holy freedom. When love becomes the root, control loses its grip. This detachment gives your heart room to breathe. You no longer carry unnecessary weight. You've stopped trying to manage perceptions or fix outcomes. Your task now is simply to stay aligned, faithful in peace, graceful in patience, and gentle with yourself as you grow. Heaven does not rush perfection, it ripens it. In this season, solitude no longer feels lonely, it feels luxurious. You savor silence because you've realized it's the meeting place between your soul and spirit. In quietness, you sense guidance before it arrives as words. You've become fluent in intuition, the gentle language of divine direction. You will find that decisions now come with ease. No more wrestling with confusion. Your heart knows where peace points, and peace never misleads. You'll sense when to move and when to stay, when to speak and when to listen. Life begins to feel choreographed rather than chaotic. This is what it means to live led instead of driven. You're not chasing meaning, you're embodying it. Every breath, every conversation, every thought becomes prayer in motion. You live aware that heaven is always near, not as a faraway kingdom, but as a pulse within you. Don't mistake this calm for completion. This is preparation for expansion. God always grows what is grounded. You will be called to new spaces, not to prove yourself, but to pour what you've learned. And when that happens, you won't need to announce your arrival. Your peace will speak first. This deep calm will become your calling card. Opportunities will recognize it, people will be drawn to it. Not everyone will understand it, but they will feel it. Some will find healing just by standing near your steadiness. You will teach without teaching, inspire without effort, lead without demand. That is what spiritual authority looks like when it's born from surrender. So, continue to rest in this rhythm. Keep tending your peace like a garden, pulling out the weeds of worry before they grow wild. Watering your spirit with gratitude each morning. Protect the soil of your mind from comparison. You are not behind. You are blooming in perfect timing. This is what heaven wanted all along, to make you whole. Not hurried, peaceful, not perfect. Everything you've walked through has been heaven's gentle shaping. You are the evidence that persistence under grace produces power without pride. And as this day unfolds, carry this knowing quietly: you are exactly where you're meant to be. Nothing is missing. Nothing is wasted. Every breath is proof that grace continues to work in you and through you. You've become a living sanctuary, a place where peace lives, where others can rest, where heaven feels near. The air feels different now. It's softer, quieter, filled with a sense of completion that words can barely hold. You've reached the part of the journey that few ever find: the sacred stillness after obedience. You have stopped striving, stopped questioning, stopped searching for signs. And now the signs begin to find you. Everything around you seems to move in harmony, not because the world has changed, but because you have. You walk through the same streets, but they feel different. You breathe the same air, yet it tastes cleaner. Even time feels slower, as though heaven has stretched it just to give you room to rest. You are not racing toward purpose anymore. You are walking with it, hand in hand, step by step. This is what divine alignment feels like: the peace of knowing that nothing is missing, nothing is wasted, and everything is unfolding exactly as it should. There is no more fear of falling behind, because you've discovered there is no behind in destiny. The timeline of heaven is not measured by years or moments, but by readiness. You were never late. You were simply being ripened. The pain that once felt like punishment was pruning. The silence that once felt like abandonment was incubation. Heaven has been growing you quietly, like roots beneath the soil. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Jeremiah, chapter 17, verse 7-8. But blessed is the one who trusts in the Lord, whose confidence is in him. They will be like a tree planted by the water that sends out its roots by the stream. That is you now, a rooted one. Your faith no longer sways with circumstance. You've dug deep into divine trust. And because of that, storms no longer scare you. You don't fear droughts, because you've learned that living water never runs out. You are sustained from within. The world calls this calm. Heaven calls it confidence. You no longer need to predict the future, because you've placed it in steady hands. You've seen too much grace to doubt its consistency. Every scar on your spirit has become a verse in your testimony, and every quiet victory has written a new song into your soul. You no longer worship from desperation, you worship from awareness. Chosen one, you've become the embodiment of answered prayer. You are what it looks like when surrender turns into strength. The same spirit that once trembled in uncertainty now radiates stability. You have learned to walk by faith without needing to see the path, because you trust the one who built it. There's a depth to your silence now. It carries wisdom. You don't react to everything. You respond with intention. You've stopped explaining yourself, because peace no longer needs to prove itself. The fruit of your transformation is not noise, it's consistency. As you move forward, life will continue to unfold in layers. Some days will glow with revelation, others will return to simplicity. But even in the mundane, you'll feel God's rhythm pulsing through everything. The ordinary will no longer bore you, it will bless you. You'll see miracles hidden in everyday mercy, the sunrise, a smile, the kindness of strangers. Heaven's fingerprints are everywhere when you slow down enough to see. You have become a quiet revolution in motion, without striving. You shift atmospheres, without speaking. You carry stability. You've become the evidence that peace is more powerful than panic, that patience is stronger than proof, that faith doesn't always shout, it simply stands. The same people who once questioned your silence will soon seek your stillness. They will come not because you demand it, but because your peace feels like home. You'll speak softly, live gently, and love steadily, and through that, you will become a living sanctuary. Your journey has always been about more than survival, it's been about stewardship. You were called to carry light into places that forgot what hope feels like. And now that you've been refined, that light shines through you effortlessly. You are no longer trying to become, you simply are. Let this be the revelation that rests over you. Now the waiting was worth it. The losses were lessons. The pain was permission to become pure. And through it all, grace never let go. Heaven smiles when you breathe this freely. When your heart beats without fear, when your faith feels effortless, you have become what every trial was shaping you into, a reflection of divine steadiness in a shifting world. You are no longer the seeker, you are the found. No longer the struggler, you are the still one. And in this stillness, you are unstoppable. Rest now, not because you're tired, but because you are home. The journey is no longer about finding God's plan, it's about living it. You are the plan in motion, the answered prayer in flesh, the peace that walks. Peace no longer visits you, it lives in you. Every heartbeat hums with divine rhythm. Every breath carries heaven's calm. You are not waiting for miracles anymore. You have become one. If you've reached this moment, it's because something within you has awakened. You didn't stumble here by chance. Heaven has been guiding every step. The message you've just walked through wasn't only written for your ears, it was woven for your spirit. You've been reminded of who you are, what you carry, and why you were never meant to blend in. Now, as you stand at the edge of this story, I want you to pause, breathe, and let gratitude rise. Not just for what you've learned, but for how far you've come. Every scar you carry has become a scripture written in your soul, and every moment of surrender has shaped you into strength. If this journey spoke to you, let that gratitude flow outward, like this message, not as routine, but as recognition, as a whisper that says, I've been touched. Share it, so another wandering soul might find their way home through your act of light. Comment something simple, your truth, your gratitude, your reflection. Each word left here becomes a ripple, traveling beyond your sight to reach someone who needs it most. And if your heart feels stirred to go deeper, to help keep this space alive for others who still need to hear, then let giving be your gentle echo of love. Donate. Not because you must, but because you can. See it as pouring a little oil into a flame that continues to burn long after this moment ends. What you offer keeps the light alive, It allows another soul, somewhere in the shadows, to feel seen again. Finally, subscribe to stay connected to the rhythm that brought you here. You're not joining a channel, you're joining a movement, a quiet gathering of souls who believe that peace, hope, and divine purpose still belong on this earth. Like, share, comment, subscribe, donate only as your spirit desires. Because when love moves freely, heaven moves with it.